what's happening now around language is the same level for me. It's like we have to shift our thinking about how to structure language learning opportunities, because we're now learning what happens during infancy is different and the early childhood years. It's not like adults. If you were an adult who tried to learn French in high school and never did it, then you think of second language learning as extremely challenging and overwhelming, and how can these young children, these young vulnerable children, possibly be expected to add a second language? That's really expecting too much. In fact, that's why I think this neuroscience contribution to understanding of it is going to help us move away from the limitations of viewing these young children through the same language learning lens as we experienced it. They are different. They're different developmentally, they're different cognitively, neurologically, and linguistically. Definitely in this country, that if a child's home language is not English, that language is highly vulnerable to attrition. We're seeing in Florida, California, Texas, doesn't even matter where. That it used to be third generation, used to be that families came over, they spoke a language. Second generation became bilingual, third generation became monolingual English. Now they're really finding, it's happening by third grade. Our obligation is to, I guess, capitalize on this capacity while honoring the principles of language and home language maintenance. And that is our charge in TK, is to recognize this connection with family, the social emotional, remember I talked about resiliency a lot in the beginning, and build English while continuing to support. The other issue for us is that most early childhood teachers are not bilingual or well prepared on issues of diversity. That's why I also talked about beliefs. If you don't believe this, you will not support it, even if you are bilingual. And I worked in programs that were fully bilingual and wanted children to become bilingual. They still did 85% of their instruction in English, and I videotaped it. And they didn't know they were doing that. And finally, they told me unconsciously they believed that they had to prepare their children for an English-only kindergarten, and the best way to do that was to intensify English. First, we have to agree to certain principles, because I think, knowing what we know, it is our obligation to do this. And just as you are trained to do, whole group instruction, and just as you are trained to do book reading, this needs to be part of our training. And there are ways that we all, every one of us, whether we're bilingual, and not one of us is going to represent all the languages our children and families bring into the classroom. None of us. We all have to see ourselves as language learners and cultural learners and embrace that uncertainty. Embrace the fact that we are actually collaborating with our children and families in understanding the diversity of language that they bring in, and how that's an asset that we capture through our classroom practices. I think all of us can do this. I think it enriches our personal life, because we learn so many things that we didn't even know we didn't know, and we contribute to an atmosphere of collegial, high-level